I have to write a whole issue of comics today. I was sick all week with the stomach flu my son gave me, and I normally am a little bit further ahead, but I just finished the last page of the last chapter of my graphic novel. So, and I'm releasing them as issues, so about 24 pages. So I need to write 24 pages of comics today because the next issue starts this coming week on Tuesday. So that's when I release pages on my Patreon, and then to the public they're like 3 weeks behind. So on social media, or if you subscribe to Patreon as a free member, you'll get those pages then. So I've got a lot to do today. I have to do, also I am behind on doing covers for issue 4 and issue 5. I just wrapped issue 5 this week. I'm starting on issue 6, and it's a very challenging issue because there's going to be basically 2 characters discussing the philosophy of life, nature, and free will. You know, easy stuff. Now, I do have everything, every issue has been outlined, or excuse me, the whole series / graphic novel has been outlined. So I know what's going to happen. I know how it ends, I know how it starts, I just don't quite know how I'm going to get there. But that's the fun. That's why I do this. I kind of have a loose outline, and then I build on the story based on my experiences telling it thus far, if that makes sense. I've done it both ways, where I've done, a very, multiple revisions of a thumbnail draft, where basically I'm doing rudimentary, more than stick figures, but less than a full rendering per se. But I'm trying it this way using the Dan Harmon Story Circle, and then outlining everything either on paper, but it always ends up in my favorite writing program, IA Writer. You can use it on iOS, Mac, Windows. It all syncs up. You can either use Dropbox or iCloud. I happen to use iCloud in this instance. And today, it's early in the morning, I'm just gonna start writing. And like I said, I'm just doing an outline. So I start with page 1, I write a few sentences about what I want to have happen on that page, and then move on to, I kind of group everything on page turns. So there's page 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can kind of plan on if there's something exciting I want on the page turn that'll really shock the reader, that will happen there. Week to week, you don't really notice it, but when it's all collected, you have to start thinking about those things ahead of time. So when it's all collected, you'll see it all like that. To this morning, I'm going to use my ThinkPad. Why do I have a ThinkPad? I don't know. I'm primarily a Mac user. I have it for testing, because I'm also a web developer, web designer, and I have been for 30 plus years. So I do use it for testing. It dual boots into Linux also, and I have a program on there that I can use that basically edits text files as well, like IA Writer. That's the beauty of IA Writer. It's all text files, so you can grab it wherever you want, but it uses Markdown, which is a formatting syntax. I'm sure you've used it before, even if you don't know it. But basically, to bold something, you know, you put asterisks around it. And then Markdown then interprets it as bold and then displays it as bold. That sort of stuff is happening behind the scenes when you use Microsoft Word. You just never see it. You just hit Command B or Control B or whatever to bold it. So I'm going to be using IA Writer on my ThinkPad. I really like the keyboard on the ThinkPad. It's very like spongy and satisfying and just really well built. It's a well built machine, and I like well built machines. And I don't mind using Windows on occasion. And IA Writer has a version for Windows, so we're gonna start with that and we'll go from there. Sometimes I'm just not feeling the Windows experience though, so I also have a mechanical keyboard that I really like typing on. Basically, all of these tools are just there for me to enjoy the process of writing, if that makes sense. The more joy I feel from the experience, I think that comes out into the writing and the outline. So I have a Newfie low profile keyboard. I love it. It is amazing. I actually bought this is an Air 75. I actually bought the full 96 for my office at work, just because I enjoy it so much and I wanted the full keypad. Newfie is amazing. I highly recommend it. They're really pretty affordable. They do Mac, Windows. You can wire it. It's wireless. There's all sorts of effects. They have a new one out that they really tried to get me to pre-order, and they did a fantastic job of almost getting me to get it. But I'm happy with what I have now. If these, for whatever reason, break, I will end up upgrading. But I'm a fan of Newfie for life. But yeah, I have a little stand for my iPad. I'm just going to use that. I have a MacBook Pro also. But it's all hooked up and ready for video editing, and I just don't want to unhook everything, so I'll just use my iPad Pro. This is what I use for drawing too. I mean, it's a great, fantastic tablet, tool, whatever you want to call it. I love it. I draw all of my comics on it. I do a little photo editing on there on occasion. I've done a little video editing on occasion if I need to in a pinch, but mainly I write a lot. And I draw a lot on it. So it's a fantastic, and for what that is, I use the heck out of it. It is well worth the money I've put into it. It's easily paid for itself over 3 times over at least. So I'm excited for the new updates that are coming with the new operating system, and we'll go from there. But it's a great experience. Now, when I am outlining everything, my writing process is kind of done in phases. So I have the overall concept. I write kind of an overall outline for the entire graphic novel or series or whatever. I split it up into chapters, so it's a little bit more manageable, and then I kind of outline the chapters or issues in this case. And then from there, when I'm actually drawing the page, that, you know, the day before it's released on Patreon, usually, I try to work ahead. It doesn't work for me. I just tend to, when my back's kind of against the wall and it's due the next day or it's due now, I seem to do better work in that regards. But I basically am treating it almost as a first draft also. I'll get back to that in a second. But I will write it on that night, basically, I'll lay out the page and I will write it out physically from there. And I may deviate from the outline. And that's why I do the outline, is based on the previous page or based on what I know is going to happen on the next page. I may change my mind on how it goes, and I just don't want to be locked in. Now, like I said, I have done thumbnail drafts where it's just very, I've done, if you go on Amazon or Comixology, Fantagraphics released a graphic novel of mine called The Crippler's Son. And it's a family drama about a wrestling family, a pro wrestling family. It's light on the wrestling, more on the family drama if you're interested in reading it. It's about, it's more of a graphic novella, so it's about 48 pages. I did 5 to 7 thumbnail drafts of that. I mean, I really nailed it down. I workshopped it with my class at CCS. It was my master's thesis. CCS stands for the Center for Cartoon Studies. That was my master's thesis project. Fantagraphics picked it up. My advisor happened to be the publisher of Fantagraphics, Eric Reynolds. Gary Groth and Eric Reynolds are the current publishers, or that run Fantagraphics. And he worked with me quite a bit on it. So it was an incredible experience to work with him. And yeah, I did revision after revision after revision after revision until I got the story drum tight. And so in that instance, I feel like it works on shorter stories. I like kind of going through that iterative process and workshopping it because there's just less wiggle room to mess up. See You in Hell, the graphic novel I'm currently working on, is gonna be around 250 pages. And since I'm releasing this to the public, you know, a page at a time, I do 2 pages a week. There's stuff that I am making notes on that, you know, especially going back and rereading it, that I'm going to go back and revise. There are a few panels that I want to redraw. There's a few lines that I want to change. There's some continuity errors between the character design every now and then. And that's kind of what happens after, you know, because you're away from it for a little bit every week and you're doing other things. You're living your life. So I think that's a good way of doing it. And so, yeah, wish me luck. I got to finish this today. And if I'm lucky, I will get 1 cover done, or I'll start on page 1 and 2 for next week. That would be great too. So we'll see. I know what I want to do for the next, or for last issue's cover, excuse me, 2 issues ago's cover, issue 4. Issue 5, I need to work out what I want to do for a cover there. And then, yeah, I'm starting on issue 6. So here we go. Okay, it's a few hours later. I spent probably 3.5 hours working it out, but I'm all done. I'm back over on my main computer, my MacBook Pro, and just starting to just double check things. And that's pretty much it. That's my basic writing process. And now I'm doing some visual research for my covers and that I need to get done. And yeah, that was it. It was a good go. It's 12:30 now, so I've got the rest of the afternoon. Football's on today, so I feel good. I feel really good. It's really satisfying to, you know, you have an idea of what you want to do, and then the kind of iterate and plan it out a little bit more is very satisfying to see it all kind of come together. And it really there's certain moments where, like, oh man, like if you give yourself goosebumps, that's a perfect sign that you've nailed it. So Very excited to just start sharing it with the rest of the world. It's so weird putting, you know, a lot like YouTube, you know, you're putting yourself out there and it feels very revealing. Like, almost, you know, it's almost like that dream in high school where you're naked going to class. Comics for me is double that, because it's almost like revealing my brain and my innermost thoughts to everybody. I just hope people enjoy it. Comics are the perfect blend of graphic design and poetry, and it is very revealing of your soul, I feel. And so to put yourself out there like that is hard, and anyone that is a cartoonist, I applaud you and keep up the good work, and know that even if it feels like you're not connecting, or your work isn't connecting as much as you would like, if you even get one person to connect with it, I feel like it's worth it. Unfortunately, that one person isn't going to pay your rent. But I still think the endeavor is worthwhile. So with that, I'm gonna call it. Have a great afternoon, great weekend, great week, whatever, whenever you're watching this. And I'm gonna try to enjoy myself for a couple hours and then get back to work. I got a lot to draw, so it never stops. Talk soon. Thanks.